When you have numbers, it's very easy for you to see, it's very easy for you to have evidence of what needs to be done, what needs to be looked into. We've learned to rely on numbers, to rely on data, which we initially never really did. So either something appeared compelling and it made us look into it, or something appeared interesting, and then we decide to do it. But then over time we started encountering issues. We started encountering experiences that made us start relying on numbers for us to make decisions. Small differences matter. If you have small differences in different areas, if your marketing improves by a bit, and then what you do on the site improves by a bit, in the long run, the whole becomes bigger than the sum of the different parts.
Because we have our own company-owned farm, we know exactly how much, we know the metrics in terms of like farming that product. And we know that we're going to have very good controls in terms of all the farmers that we sign up to work with us. So it's not as if we just begin paying them and then we don't show up to actually harvest the product. We have extension workers that will go out every 2 weeks to ensure that the product is actually getting taken care of.
So an example is when we were doing Facebook marketing, we had to select 4 photos. Yeah, we had to select 4 photos. First of all, to see the difference in the impact of the different images in terms of the impressions. And then after testing the photos, we tested let's call it the text, then the different versions of the message that we wanted to push out there. Our own experiences would think that is the best image. And we would also choose the text that we think would strike a chord with our target users. But then Facebook, the feedback we got from Facebook was quite different from what we expected.
Yeah, another example was in tracking where our customers were dropping off. So what was happening was in our purchase, say buy airtime service, whereby the customer goes, fills in his details, proceeds to the next step, and then confirms the transaction. There are 4 steps. So what we found out in tracking the customer behavior across these different service points was that when it gets to step number 2, the customer would trail off, or he or she would log out of the service. So what we did was we redesigned the pages such that we removed the navigation bar. And in return, what we saw was that there was an 8% increase on the number of customers now who were transacting.
We struggled with access to raw materials. We know one thing that farmers have plenty of is land. But it took us a while to actually realize the main problem that farmers have in cultivating that land is that they don't have capital. The only way we can actually do that is we need to hire the farmers directly out. From month 1, they get a monthly salary. So we've calculated exactly how much 1 hectare can produce for a 12-month season, and we've broken down those payments into 12 equal monthly payments. So that becomes their salary. So they immediately have capital to begin working on the land. So we basically distribute that across and can say, okay, you can either take all of this capital and you take care of this 1 hectare of land, or you can take this capital and hire somebody to actually take care of the land and the crops. And all we do is just come in and harvest everything that you've planted.
So we use several tools. For us, we use one that's known as Mixpanel, and we also use Google Analytics for the tracking. If you're making database decisions, it saves you a lot of time and money, because usually what happens if you don't have such a model of making decisions, you make your decisions on the service purely based on other people's opinion. And the case goes like this. If 3 people out of 5 put a thumbs up for the service or for a certain feature, then it wins, and that's what people work on. On the other hand, if it doesn't get as many votes, it is ignored. But the question is that, did you consider whether it matters for the customer? Or did you consider whether it will improve the life of the customer in using your service? So, one, it will be easier to make decisions on your service using data that you have collected from the service.
With Mixpanel, you understand the impact of everything that you do. You can track everything that you do. Feedback would have been faster, so decision making would have been faster. We would have worked on certain areas of our service and not others. Areas that we saw have an impact, like how we maximize on our things like search engine optimization, which would have assisted also in putting us out there in terms of marketing and all that.
Looking at the rear view mirror from the point we are in, I would say that should have been one of the key things that we should have done when launching of the service. That we should have been in a position to know what our customers are doing, what is not working for the service, from the point of inception of the idea. Yeah, so I would advise other entrepreneurs to do it, to learn from our mistake and start it when they are commencing their businesses.